Please be seated. Mayor Hahn, City Controller Chick, my colleagues in the City Council, city employees, and my fellow Angelenos, thank you for joining us in John Ferraro Council Chambers this morning, and welcome. This morning we have a very special guest, one of the world's great leaders, and one who's making a historic visit to the city of Los Angeles and to Los Angeles City Hall, the Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Kofi Annan. I had the pleasure of being present at Mr. Annan's address to the World Affairs Council 50th anniversary dinner last night, where he spoke with great passion about both the role of the United States in the United Nations, as well as the importance of multilateralism in this post-Cold War era. The work of the United Nations cannot be understated, as the first half of the 20th century is marked by the horrors of 2 world wars, and the second half, with the United Nations and the support of the United States, was marked by conflict, but with meaningful peace building and conflict resolution. Mr. Annan, from the nation of Ghana, has been with the United Nations since 1962, when he served as a budget officer with the World Health Organization in Geneva. Since then, he has served in many senior positions at the United Nations, including ones with the UN Economic Commission for Africa, the Office of the UN High Commissioner for Refugees, Security Coordinator for the UN system, and as its controller. Mr. Annan's priorities as Secretary General have included strengthening the UN through various reform packages, strengthening the UN's work in development and maintaining international peace and security, advocating for human rights and the values of equality, tolerance, and human dignity as found in the UN's Charter, and in Mr. Annan's own words, bringing the United Nations closer to the people. A student of the University of Science and Technology in Kumasi, Mr. Annan completed his work in economics at Macalester College in St. Paul, Minnesota. Mr. Annan pursued his graduate career in economics at the Institut Universitaire in Geneva and received a Master of Science degree in management as a Sloan Fellow from my alma mater, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct honor to welcome to Los Angeles and to this esteemed council chamber, United Nations Secretary General Kofi Annan. Mr. Secretary General, it is my honor to present to you a City Council resolution adopted just yesterday morning by unanimous vote of the City Council in support of the UN Millennium Development Goals. Please accept this on behalf of the City.
Right here, gentlemen. Thank you very much.
Colleagues and members of the public, I now introduce to you for remarks the great mayor of the great city of Los Angeles, Mayor James K. Hahn.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Council President Alex Padilla and members of the City Council and members of the Consular Corps and guests today. We do have a very special guest in City Hall today. Secretary General Kofi Annan is world leader, and he works to provide the kinds of solutions to the most difficult and pressing issues of our times that we want him to do. I know the whole world admires the work Secretary General has done over the years. In some of the most difficult times I think that the world has seen. His portfolio runs the gamut from children's issues. We talked in my office about his work to deal with HIV and AIDS, His work to deal with hunger, international peacekeeping, obviously, is something that has occupied a great deal of his time. And by watching him, we understand that events in the farthest corner of the world affect us right here in Los Angeles. Secretary General Kofi Annan is the 7th Secretary General of the United Nations. We were very pleased this last year to honor one of our own here in Los Angeles, the Undersecretary of the United Nations, Ralph Bunche, who graduated from Jefferson High School here in Los Angeles. And like Secretary General Kofi Annan, Ralph Bunche was a recipient of the Nobel Peace Prize. Secretary General Annan began his first term on January 1st, 1997. In 2001, he was appointed by acclamation to his second term in office. And again, as I mentioned, on December 10th, Secretary General Kofi Annan was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize along with the United Nations. And the Nobel Committee said that Mr. Annan had been preeminent in bringing new life to the organization of the UN. Our visitor also accompanied today by his lovely wife, Nani Annan, who's an artist and a lawyer. And she shares her husband's interest in the issue of HIV and AIDS, hunger, especially education for women. Thank you for coming to City Hall as well. And it is now my honor as the mayor of this great city of Los Angeles to introduce to you His Excellency, Secretary General of the United Nations, Kofi Annan.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Council President and Mayor, for those very, very kind words. Distinguished members of the City Council, distinguished members of the Consular Corps, and my young friends, it's wonderful to see so many young people in the hall this morning. I'm delighted and honored to be among you today. Above all, I'm heartened that you have adopted this resolution in support of the Millennium Development Goals. The adoption of the MDGs, as we call them, was a seminal event in the history of the United Nations. The 8 commitments, ranging from halving extreme poverty and halting the spread of HIV/AIDS and producing universal primary education, all by the target date of 2015, form a blueprint by all the world's countries. They represent a set of principles which are simple but powerful. Powerful objectives that every man and woman in the street, from Los Angeles to Lagos, from Lima to Lahore, can easily support and understand. Why are the Millennium Development Goals different from other bold pledges that became broken promises in the past 50 years? There are 3 reasons why they are important. First, the Millennium Development Goals are people-centered, time-bound, and measurable. Second, the Millennium Development Goals have unprecedented political support. All the world leaders gathered in New York in the year 2000 and signed on to the declaration. Third, and most important, the Millennium Development Goals are achievable. These goals are not just wishful thinking. They are certainly challenging, but they are also technically feasible. But there is little time left until the target date of 2015. We must redouble our efforts. Good democratic governance and sound development strategies will be paramount. Equally vital is a true partnership engaging developed and developing countries alike. Indeed, forging global partnerships for development forms one of the goals in itself. goal number 8 of the MDG is forming global partnership. Achieving it will be crucial in achieving all the other goals that we've set ourselves. As City Council members, you have an important role to play. You and your fellow city councillors around the world collectively represent more than half of mankind. Today, more than 3 billion people live in cities. While today's major challenges are global, the impact is often felt most directly at the local level. Cities like yours can be vehicles for peace in the broader sense of the word. Cities demonstrate that what draws human beings together is far more important than what separates them. They are the microcosms of the world and remind us that we are also citizens of the world. They are the future of the world. As we can see from the presence of so many young people here in this hall, as I usually call them, the leaders of the 21st century, and I'm sure there are some in that room who are going to be mayors, probably aiming to be secretary generals or other important professions. Los Angeles, of course, is a city in a class by itself. Bigger, more diverse, more influential than many member states of the United Nations. What happens in Los Angeles attracts the attention of the whole world. For all those reasons, the resolution you adopted yesterday, I think it was, is profoundly significant. It reflects an understanding that the work for a healthier, more equitable world begins with every one of us, in developed and developing countries alike. So let us work together to make the Millennium Development Goals come true. I am grateful to every one of you for your commitment and hope that many others will follow your example. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias. Thank you. Thank you very much. See, I speak your second language.
My first language.
I know, it's good. Good. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Secretary General.
He hid from me until now that he went to my alma mater too.
Yes. Thank you very much. Photos?
So we move on?
Yes. All right, thank you. As Mr. Secretary General is excusing himself, I do want to recognize the presence, and we'll acknowledge you each individually in a few minutes, but the Los Angeles Consular Corps is present in council chambers this morning, joining us for this very special event. think we're...
Country.
Thank you very much. If you would please take your seats once again. What many of you missed as the Secretary General was excusing himself was a formal escort from Council Member Tom LaBonge of the Dean of the Consular Corps, Consul General Luis Maria Kreckler, representing Argentina. I would like to now recognize him for a few words.
Thank you very much. Dear President of the Los Angeles City Council, Mr. Alex Padilla, dear council members, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, we are here today at the City Council, the place where the resolutions that rule the life of this marvelous city are issued. Minutes ago, I stressed the remarkable and respectful work of the mayor in integrating the very special city of great cultural diversity. In the same way that we mentioned the mayor work, I would like to extend the gratitude on behalf of the Consular Corps to the President of the Council, Mr. Alex Padilla, and his 14 colleagues. You represent the voters of the communities that make up the city of Los Angeles. A peaceful interaction among communities is a distinctive trademark of Los Angeles, a city we all admire for its social dynamics and its ability to constantly adapt to changes. And in those changes are that the members of the council face tirelessly and always resolve in the best manner. Then, on behalf of the diplomatic community and the people we represent, I would like to express our recognition and gratitude to this council for their activities and to make possible for us to feel at home in this wonderful city. Thank you very much, Mr. President, with our profound appreciation to the council member. Thank you very much.
Would you like to stay here with me while I acknowledge the members who are here? Yes. And I hope I don't miss anybody. Thank you, Mr. Consul General. I'd like to recognize the other Consul Corps members who are representing their respective countries here this morning. Representing Argentina, our Consul General Luis Maria Kreckler, along with Juan Carlos Toche. Please welcome to Los Angeles City Hall. Representing Armenia, we have Consul General Kajik Kirakosian, accompanied by Hakop Hovhannisyan. Please stand. Welcome. Representing Australia, we have Consul General John Wayne Olson. Welcome. Representing Austria, we have Deputy Consul Bita Razulian Mahmoudi. Representing Belgium, please welcome Consul General Frank Gierkens. Representing Belize, please welcome Consul General Roy Young. Representing Benin, we normally have a assembly member and former U.S. Representative Mervyn Daimili. He's represented today by a former council member, Robert Farrell. Welcome. Representing Brazil, please welcome Consul General José Vincent de Sá Pimentel. Representing Burundi, Honorary Consul Nikki Azebi Tesfaye, accompanied by Isaac Tesfaye. Representing the Central African Republic, Honorary Consul General Clark E. Parker, Sr., accompanied by Jeanette Parker. Representing China, Consul General Zhong Jianghao, accompanied by Lia Bo. Representing Colombia, please welcome Clara Just. Representing Costa Rica, Consul General Ricardo Alberto González Díaz. Representing Croatia, please welcome Consul General Sanja Bujas Juraga, accompanied by Ivan Juraga. Representing the Czech Republic, please welcome Consul General Margita Fuschova. Representing Ecuador, please welcome Consul General Marcelo Salcedo, accompanied by Maria Escobar. Representing Ethiopia, welcome Consul General Taye Ateke Selassie. Representing Finland, Acting Consul General Stefan Lindström. Representing France, Consul General Jean-Luc Sibud. Representing Germany, Consul General Hans-Jürgen Wendler. Representing Greece, Trade Commissioner Elias Tanasaf. Representing Guatemala, Consul General Fernando Castillo. Representing Guyana, Honorary Consul Joseph D'Oliveira and Emi D'Oliveira. Representing Indonesia, welcome Consul Handrio Kusumo Priyo. Representing Ireland, welcome Honorary Consul M. Finbar Hill, accompanied by Carmel Hill. Representing Israel, welcome Consul General Zvi Vapni, Deputy Consul General, along with Cecilia Cabello. Representing Jamaica, please welcome Honorary Consul June Pamela Royas and Don Royas. Representing Japan, please welcome Consul General Yoshio Nomoto and Masaki Yokoyama. Representing Korea, please welcome Consul General Lee Yoon-bok. Representing Latvia, Honorary Consul Alfred Reisters. Representing Lebanon, Consul General Charbel Wiebe. Representing Lithuania, Honorary Consul General Vytautas Sekanauskas. Representing Malaysia, Consul General Zulkefli Mod Nur. Representing our neighbor to the south, Mexico, Consul General and Ambassador Marta Lara, along with, accompanied by Alejandra Bologna. Representing the Netherlands, Consul General David van Uitersen and Dorrit van Uitersen. Representing New Zealand, Consul General Darrell Dunn. Representing Pakistan, Consul General Noor Mohammad Jadmani, accompanied by Vice Consul Farouk Ahmad. Representing Paraguay, Consul General Jose Antonio dos Santos. Representing Peru, Consul General Liliana Sino. Representing the Philippines, Consul General Marciano Aguirre Painter Jr., accompanied by Helen Barber. Representing Poland, welcome Consul General Kristina Tokarska-Biernacik. Representing Romania, welcome Consul Catalin Ghenea. Representing St. Vincent and Grenadines, Honorary Consul General Cadrin Emmanuel Gil. Representing Saudi Arabia, Acting Consul General Dr. Sami Ibrahim, accompanied by Fraig Al-Sederi. Representing South Africa, please welcome Consul General Glaudine Mchali. Representing Spain, Consul General Jose Luis Dicenta Ballester. Representing Sri Lanka, Consul General Pradeep Gunawardana. Representing Sweden, Consul General Thomas Rosander, accompanied by Christina Rosander. Representing Switzerland, Consul General Franz Hunkeler. Representing Thailand, Consul General Isintorn Sornvai. Representing Turkey, Consul General Engin Ansay, accompanied by Vice Consul Özgür Altan. And representing the United Kingdom, welcome Deputy Consul General Brian Connolly. And I hope I acknowledged everybody. If there was a late addition to our guest list, I apologize. Welcome to City Hall. Welcome to Council Chambers. Thank you for being with us on this very special morning. And sure, we'd love to take a group shot, and that'll give our technology folks a few minutes to rearrange our system here as we prepare for a council meeting this morning. So let's take a... Okay. Would the Consular Corps please come forward? May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please, for two very quick announcements. May I have your attention, please, for two very brief announcements to avoid an international incident in the city of Los Angeles. Let me recognize someone who was joined us this morning, and I failed to recognize earlier, the consul representing the Republic of Hungary, Karoli Varas. Thank you for being here this morning. And also, for those consul representatives, welcome Mark Rajovic. For those of you who have not received your certificate, please know as you're leaving the rear of chambers, there is a table established. We have a certificate of friendship for each and every one of you and your countries on behalf of the city of Los Angeles. Thank you. Members of the City Council, members of the public, I'd like to call this meeting to order as soon as possible. Members of the Council, as soon as we're ready to begin, we do have a few items to consider this morning.
No. 1-5, public comment, and another one.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I'd like to call this meeting to order. It is now 10:35 a.m. It's been a wonderful morning thus far in City Hall today. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Cardenas, Garcetti, Gruel, Han, Labange, Ludlow, Miskowski, Parks, Perry, Reyes, Smith, Villaraigosa, Weisstein, Padilla, 13 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. The council is officially in session. First order of business, please.
Approval of the minutes.
Mr. Parks moves and Ms. Gruel seconds.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Ms. Hahn moves and Mr. Zine seconds.
On the regular agenda, items noticed for public hearings, items 1 through 4 are street lighting districts. Council should open the hearings, and if there are any cards, hold the public hearing, and then continue the hearing and ordinances to January 6, 2004.
Members of the council, items 1 through 4 are currently before us. I do have a card on item number 1. We'll hold that item special. On items 2, 3, and 4, I do not have requests from members of the public to address this council. We shall deem the public hearings open and, without objection, continue these hearings to January 6, 2004. Next item, please.
On the regular agenda, item number 5 is an item for which public hearing has been held. Rules Elections Committee report has been submitted and distributed to the council members.
Members, item number 5 is now before us. Public hearing has been held in committee. A motion from the floor would be required to reopen the public hearing. Seeing.
I know we have one speaker card. If we can just open for 2 minutes of public comment,
Okay,
please.
Mr. Garcetti calls item 5 special to hear from members of the public. Next item, please.
And item number 6 is an item for which public hearing has not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Okay, item number 6 now before us, and without objection, the council shall consider this matter today. I do not have requests from members of the public to address the council on item number 6, satisfying the public hearing. Is there a member of the council wishing to call item number 6 special? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please open the roll on item number 6. Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That is approved. Next item, please.
Going back to the items called special, item number 1 was called special for a card from the public.
Item number 1 now before us, and the council calls forward Mr. Tut Hayes on item number 1.
Thank you, Mr. President. We should have an item for protests and complaints. If you look at your agenda, you'll see that public comment is at the very end, but it doesn't have an item number. And for that reason, I'm told that all the other things which are on the agenda, which have no item numbers, are actually not items on the agenda the public may address. I filled out a card to address the ceremonies of Mr. Anand. I was told I was not able to do that because it's really not an agenda item. The Brown Act says that anything on the agenda of interest to the public they may address. I wish Mr. Anand had been here to see the repressive manner in which you treat the members of the public, the disdain you show for their participation in any procedures that come before this council. Now, you'll either have to put item numbers on this or simply obey what's reasonable. It's on the agenda. If you do not wish to have the public speak to it, don't put it on the agenda. Deal with it in your conference chambers and then violate the Brown Act. But to violate the Brown Act openly in the presence of the public who's making an attempt to participate is unconscionable. I don't know which country here does that kind of thing to its population in repressing speech. So I intend to try to address this, Mr. President, with your office. Maybe you can assign someone to delve into these issues, so we won't have to go through this each and every time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. This is for item number 1. Mr. Hayes, you do have a card also
Public comment?
for public comment, correct?
That was my public
you.
comment. I won't bore you any longer.
Thank you. This concludes public comment for item number 1. Members of the council wishing to be heard on item number 1. Seeing none, public hearing shall remain open and this matter continued without objection to January 6th, 2004. And for the public's benefit, let me announce that while items may appear on the agenda that are not numbered, and therefore we may or may not accept public comment on those items, no matters appearing on the agenda for action by the City Council are acted upon without public comment either in committee or in this full council. So we do comply with the Brown Act. Next item, please.
Item number 5 was called special by Councilmember Garcetti.
Mr. Garcetti, and I believe he wanted to hear from Mr. Sean Butler on this item.
Thank you, Council President Padilla. Distinguished council members, thank you for this opportunity to address you. I'm Sean Butler. I'm co-chair of the International Criminal Court Alliance, a California nonprofit. With me is Ted Lutzinger. I believe the International Criminal Court is the most significant single institution to promote world peace through the rule of law rather than resort to the use of force since the formation of the United Nations. Now, only history is going to tell us whether or not that statement is true, and with the support of the United States, I'm sure it will be true. But even with the United States on the outside, the support for the International Criminal Court is so broad and its goals so noble that it still may become true. The greatest threat to world peace today is the lack of accountability for the perpetrators of genocide, war crimes, and crimes against humanity. In the last century, the world continued to see these crimes committed in nearly all cases without any judicial proceedings to try those accused of those crimes. The results of those crises created by those crimes affect us all. The International Criminal Court will be a court of last resort, which will normally consider these charges when national courts fail to do so, to investigate or prosecute the grossest of human rights violations. As we approach the end of the United Nations Decade for Human Rights, it's important for the public's support for U.S. participation with this important new institution to be conveyed to our federal government. The United States supported the international tribunals established by the United Nations and participated in the negotiations of the 1998 Rome Treaty. But the current administration has withdrawn America's signature to the treaty. And withdrawing the signature signifies the intent of America not to be bound by the principles of the Rome Treaty. As representatives of one of the world's largest cities, a city which embraces immigrants, many of whom are refugees from their homes because of the lack of accountability for those who commit these crimes. It's important for Los Angeles to say out loud that Los Angeles believes the victims of genocide, war crimes, and crimes against humanity should have an opportunity to see those who have made them victims brought to justice. And if their own national courts are either so ineffective or so dominated by the perpetrators, then the world will not sit by. There is a court for them. That court is the International Criminal Court. When one person has committed crimes against him or her because of perceived ethnic or religious differences, that's an affront to us all. When a woman is raped as an instrument of war, that's an affront to us all. When a child is robbed of his or her innocence and used as a soldier, that is an affront to us all. We must all be concerned when there is no judicial system to try those accused of these crimes. The International Criminal Court promotes national prosecutions, but when, because of the enormity of the crime or because of corruption, national courts fail to act, the ICC is a court of last resort. Only if conditions for the exercise of jurisdiction are met. And those conditions are either a referral by the United Nations, that the crime committed on the territory of a state party, or that the accused is a national of a state party. That's why it's important to have as many nations as possible to be participants in this treaty, and the U.S. should be one of those. The U.S. should join the other 92 nations, including most of our closest allies, by participating with the court as a state party, which means acceding to the Rome Treaty. Please let our national leaders know the public does support this important new court and wants the United States to return to being involved and participating with the court as a party to the treaty. We must all be concerned when America is on the outside of the most important new institution for world peace pursuant to the rule of law since the formation of the United Nations. Please vote yes on this resolution, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you very much. This concludes public comment for item number 5. Chair recognizes Mr. Garcetti.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Colleagues, this is a fitting day that we do this. I went up to His Excellency, the Secretary General, and let him know that we were going to be voting on this ICC resolution today, and his eyes lit up, and he said, "Thank you." He said, "Thank you, not only because this means something internationally, but because it means something locally." We had the Consular Corps here, and so many members of the Consular Corps, unlike most other cities in the United States and the world where we don't have so many representatives, because people come here to Los Angeles, many of them seeking economic opportunity, but many of them seeking political opportunity or fleeing criminal activity. We have survivors of war crimes, we have former child soldiers who live here in Los Angeles, and in order to represent them well, in order to give them justice, we need to send the signal that what President Bush did by unsigning this treaty, which was unprecedented after Mr. Clinton had signed it, that we do stand for justice, that we do stand against crimes against humanity, that we do stand against war crimes. So I ask your support. I want to thank the International Criminal Court Alliance here, one of the strongest local voices anywhere in the world for the International Criminal Court, and fulfill that legacy that was an American legacy after World War II and after the genocide and the Nuremberg trials, and make us be a party to the ICC. Thank you.
Mr. Dudlow.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to rise in support of this item. But, and just to keep it very brief and succinct, I applaud Mr. Garcetti for raising this item. But I wanted to do something just a little different and just say, members, I think we ought to, on this item, take the moment to acknowledge the great work done today by our Council President, Alex Padilla, and our great Mayor, Mayor Hahn. Today was a great day in Los Angeles. It was very exciting. It is so appropriate that Councilmember Garcetti's motion is on the floor today. And I just ask you to join me in a round of applause for our Council President. Job well done today.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Dudlow. Thank you very much. Mr. Villaraigosa.
Yes, members, I rise in support of this very, very important resolution. Since the beginning of the 20th century, when Woodrow Wilson was leading the world body in the idea that we should come together as a world community under the idea of the rule of law, this country has stood for the proposition that the rule of law is what separates democracies from those dictatorships all around the world. The idea that this country would take the position that the ICC is something that is anathema to our understanding of the rule of law, I think is unacceptable. And I rise in support of this resolution as someone, as a Democrat with a small d, as someone who understands that this country has to be the place where we demonstrate, not just to those in the country but around the world, that our understanding and our observance of the rule of law is second to none. And that is why I join in support of this very, very important resolution. Once America stands up and says that the ICC is that body that we go to in these instances, we will all be a better and safer world.
Mr. Labange.
Thank you, Mr. Villaraigosa. Very well said. And Mr. Ludlow, as you said too, speaking about Mr. Padilla, and I credit your staff and the mayor's staff and the mayor. And I reminisce just a little bit, if I could digress from this item, Ted and others, how important it is for this chamber, this John Farrell chamber, to receive people from wherever they live in the city or from wherever they come in the world, because that's an important thing. And now we have a court, if I could transfer the thought, that we should participate in, because we're a people of a world of all people, and we should deal in that level. When we isolate ourselves or think of ourselves differently, it doesn't work. And when we join hands and work together, it does work. And I truly believe there was much movement towards that previously, and I hope we could reestablish that as we could see the need to really work together on all of our challenges, whatever they may, whatever one's political perspective is, because it's very important to have that. And I was just thinking, as you spoke of Woodrow Wilson, Antonio, and how he had the League of Nations, but now we have the United Nations, and the difference between that just little comment of a United Nations, of looking at internationally, is so important if we're going to be successful. And I think we really all want to be successful. So I thank Mr. Garcetti for his passion, as he so eloquently often brought issues to our attention that need to be discussed. And I thank you, and we all call for an aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Labange. Mr. Zine.
Thank you, Mr. President. We heard this in committee yesterday. A number of questions were raised, a number of answers were given, and I recognize my colleague, Councilmember Garcetti, for his passion in this area. When I look at what we're trying to do with peace and tranquility around this world, when I look at the body that was here this morning, the Council Generals from all around the world, that we are an international city, and oftentimes we look at the City Council and deal with sidewalks and streets and public safety, but there's no question we are an international city. We need to recognize that. And if you look at the city councils around this country, I don't think many of them could have the representations we had this morning with the Secretary General of the United Nations and the assemblage of representatives from around the world. So my focus on this, we talk about liberty, justice, freedom for people, and we are a city that is united in that endeavor. We are a city of diversity, great diversity. And as we see the name changes around the city of Los Angeles, the little communities that are formed, it represents the diversity that this city is involved with. The city attorney is looking at me like he's going to tell me to stop talking, but I don't think I'm talking off the subject. But I support this. We did vote yesterday in committee to support it. We heard from Councilmember Garcetti and his passion for this. And we may look at it as idealistic, but if we don't have ideals and principles and values, then what value are we to society? So with that, I support this, and it sends a strong message. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Zine. Other members wishing to be heard? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please open the roll. Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
That is approved. Next item, please.
This is the time for comments from the public on items not on council's agenda.
And the council calls forward Ernest Hamilton.
cool. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. President, honorable city council members. The purpose for this, can you hear you?
Just.
I won't go any closer. Gotta make it accessible.
Why don't we do this? That's okay. Come on. Just come through.
Okay, good. Good morning, Mr. President and honorable members of the City Council. My name is Ernest Hamilton. I'm representing Personal Care Technology and speaking for the disability community and the Access riders. I wanted all the city councilmen to know that the service that Access is providing to the disabled community is substandard. It stinks. And what happened is United Access, they're a provider, they lost their contract to LA Taxi. Now, LA Taxi had the contract before and lost it because of their substandard service. Now they have the contract again. And the majority of the riders of Access in South Central area and all over the county are complaining about their service. We can't get to where we need to get to on time, and they're canceling our rides at will. So I've been asked to appear before the City Council and let you know what's going on and ask for your intervention or monitor to assist in monitoring what's going on with the Access services and the rides that the disability community so much depends on. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Mr. Labange.
I just want to let our Transportation Committee of Council is hearing the issue related to taxis. So we greatly appreciate you coming down and articulate the concerns. And I know we're going to consider that, and we'll ask that the clerk notify on this issue for Transportation Committee. So, and I also want to ask you, what high school did you go to?
Went to Lutheran High School.
All right. Who else went to Lutheran?
The mayor and the city council.
All right. Good job. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. This concludes public comment for today's meeting. This, I believe, is the announcement section of today's agenda.
Council has motions for posting and referral,
Motion shall be posted and referred.
and that clears the desk.
No
for announce-
excuses on the desk?
No, Mr. President.
Okay. Ms. Perry.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I have a very special messenger here today to make a very special announcement, and he is our very own Don Garza, the town crier, who has some wonderful information to share with us today. Take it away, Don.
Oh, yay! Oh, yay! Oh, yay! President of City Council, council members, wonderful, wonderful people of the city of Los Angeles and downtown Los Angeles. I am here today proclaiming tomorrow the official tree lighting ceremony at 7th and Figueroa. Santa Claus will be there. The mayor will be there. Our wonderful councilwoman Jan Perry will be there, along with Poncho Sanchez at 6 p.m., ready to dance. All right, wow. God bless our downtown Los Angeles. I will see you, I'm going to be walking around all over downtown today and tomorrow announcing the tree lighting ceremony, so if anybody wants to join me. Also at 4:30, I'll meet some people by the library and we'll walk down Flower and we'll go to the tree lighting ceremony from there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Colleagues, before hearing other announcements, I just also wanted to take a moment to thank all of you for a wonderful greeting and reception for Secretary General, and to thank all the staff who made this possible, including Laura McLennan from my office, who's been putting hours and hours and hours and hours upon hours of work this last week to coordinate the visits, with the help of Elga Sharp and other members of the mayor's office, other members of my office, and Eric Robles and all his support team and General Services Department. So I wanted to take a moment to thank everybody, ITA, everybody did a tremendous job. Other announcements? Ms. Hahn?
Well, I was just going to talk about to play off of the tree lighting ceremony in downtown Los Angeles. We're also having simultaneous tree lightings all around the city. I'm not sure about everybody else's time. I'm really not sure about my time, but in San Pedro, what time? It's 5:45 at San Pedro, at the San Pedro Municipal Building, our city hall down there. We invite everybody to come down in the harbor area and witness the building lighting. We also are going to have a little reception after that with cookies and hot apple cider.
Mr. Cardenas?
We're going to also have a simultaneous tree lighting ceremony in the San Fernando Valley, in the heart of the valley in Van Nuys, at the beautiful Browdy Center on Van Nuys Boulevard in Sylmar.
Ms. Misikowski?
5:45.
Ms. Misikowski?
And the West Side will be gathering at the old Venice City Hall on Venice Boulevard for tree lighting and reception and singing and caroling and part of the whole United City effort.
Mr. LeBon?
And there's no city hall in Atwater Village, but Eric Garcetti and I will be there because there's an 85-foot tall redwood. Wow. Thick redwood right on the corner of Brunswick and Glendale Boulevard. And we're going to light that up with the Atwater Village Chamber of Commerce, Neighborhood Council, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And to Councilmember Parks, since this is the first year, I may say, I hope next year they could relight the beautiful Christmas trees at the Coliseum at 39th Street. I know that's something that they did in the past, and maybe they're doing the project, but that's something for the future.
As soon as that general purpose money comes back down.
Oh, you bring it back now. You're the finance chair.
And as the chair of the budget, I'm sure you can make that happen. Mr. Parks?
Just want to
Mr.
announce on December 13th at dark, we're going to have a tree lighting ceremony at the corner of Marlton and King Boulevard, just west of Crenshaw, in the Marlton Square shopping center that's going to be developed very shortly. So invite all of our 8th District and citywide supporters in 9th District to be there.
Thank you, Mr. Parks. And on behalf of Councilmember Villaraigosa, another one of the simultaneous municipal building lighting ceremonies will take place, I believe, at the Eagle Rock Municipal Building. Same day, 5:45 p.m. Thursday, December 4th. Other announcements? Do we have adjourning motions today? Do we have any adjourning tributes? Okay. Please rise for adjourning motions.
Hey, town crier. Town crier.
Mr. Zine.
Thank you, Mr. President and colleagues. Request we adjourn in memory of George Herbert Lawless. Passed away November 26. George Herbert Lawless, a longtime resident of Tujunga, passed away after a brief, hard-fought, and courageous battle against cancer. George served his country in the United States Navy and had served the residents of Los Angeles for over 47 years with the Los Angeles Police Department as a reserve police officer. He retired this year with the Los Angeles Police Department Reservists. He has owned and ran L&M Stripping in Van Nuys for over 21 years while serving the citizens of Los Angeles as a police reservist. He was well known by many automotive, antique, and aircraft enthusiasts and collectors. Through his business, George was loved by many and will be sorely missed. He is survived by his wife of 27 years, Barbara, his daughters, Tina, his sons, George and Charles, 6 grandchildren, and 6 great-grandchildren. George Herbert Lawless worked for me at Valley Traffic. He was a transportation officer assigned to Valley Traffic Division, and he devoted over 47 years to the people of Los Angeles as a line reserve officer. May George Herbert Lawless rest in peace.
Thank you, Mr. Zine. Mr. Ludlow.
Members, I ask that we adjourn in memory of Willie Guerrero. Willie passed away at the age of 56. He worked with the city of Los Angeles since February of 1989, and he began his career as a custodial services attendant and worked his way up to the position of custodian supervisor. Growing up for Willie was not easy. He grew up in foster care and began working at the age of 10. But Willie was a loving man and a true family man. He is survived by his wife, 3 children, and 1 grandchild whom he adored. One thing Willie Guerrero would have wanted to be remembered for was his love of golf. He once actually played with Lee Trevino, and he won. And the golfing win is perhaps the best fitting way for us to imagine Willie as he passed away while playing golf.
Other tributes? Madam Clerk, please call the roll. Thank you all very much. This historic meeting is adjourned.
You are watching LA City View, Channel 35. Your city, your channel.